In the application of Ashi Waza, and particularly of sweeps, it is extremely important to understand the biomechanics of what's happening in a foot sweep. Our natural instinctive desire when we start learning to use our feet like hands is to basically curl the foot and cup, which is like cupping with your hand, and then to engage the big muscles of the hips, because that's the major movers that we're consciously driving when we walk. We put our mind in those hips and we start to lift. Then afterwards we see knees starting to bend. And so there's a sequence that goes on in the normal pattern of things when people are trying to learn foot sweeps, which tends to be the toes and the ankle engage, and then the hip engages, and then the knee. And that is something you have to overcome. The reason you have to overcome it is because you're killing a large amount of the potential energy that you're trying to deliver at the point you're trying to deliver it when you do that. And what we see with Ashi Waza done in that particular sequence of firing those particular muscle groups is that you can only execute an Ashi Waza of that nature when everything else is optimal. In other words, if I want to sweep Kyle's foot, then if I'm going to sweep with nothing but my ankle, then my hip, and then my knee engaging last, I've got to make damn sure that his foot is just about to become weightless as I encounter it. Then I can sweep the foot. And it works just fine. But if you build the sequence from the toes to the ankle to the knee first, the knee begins to bend, and then the activity of the hip engages last, you can deliver energy in a far broader range. You can deliver energy right at the point of contact, right down there at his foot, and you can deliver it even when there's weight in the foot. If Kyle has weight on this foot, his leading foot here, and I reach in here, and I try to sweep, I point my toe, I curl my ankle, and I try to sweep with my hip. And I just tried, and I can tell you, I felt a lot of pressure build up on the inside of my knee, and I felt a lot of pressure build up on the outside of my hip, and I got zero result. He's like a statue. His weight's on that foot. Nothing going, right? So he's still there, right? He's still there. I get the same basic position. And I'm just doing Koji here so that you can see the relative result for the camera. It can be any foot sweeping position. Doesn't really matter. And I engage first my toes, my ankle, my knee, then my hip. And the weight that he's standing on doesn't help him a damn bit. Now that's extremely important to understand, because it makes the difference between whether you always have to hit them in perfect timing as their weight's coming off, or if you build a device for foot sweeping that they can be flat-footed and weight down and trying like hell to stop you, and you sweep them anyway. Because he can tell you, that's a very unusual feeling. When you've got weight on the foot and the foot goes anyway, wow, you've built a real different kind of hammer. Now the reason people don't do it is, again, our conscious mind, when we learn foot sweeps, tends to drive the foot and the hip, and then the knee is an afterthought. Comes in late. But if you consciously point, curl, bend the knee, then the action of the hip, and you be very consistent about that. You must always ankle, knee, and the body falling becomes part of the activity in the thigh and the hip. You'll build a foot sweep that you can use in a much wider range of times and positions. You'll have a tool that will double or triple your opportunities for doing foot sweep, and you'll be able to have a much higher degree of success in pulling them off. Thank you.